Let's talk about something surprisingly messy: the way we define AI. It's a little ironic that a field built on logic and precision is riddled with disagreement, but here we are. When I'm introducing my students to the many definitions in the world of AI, I start out with just one slide and one rule: everything is made up and the points don't matter. That's a pretty hard pill to swallow for those looking for some concrete definitions, though. If I'm talking about AI chatbots, then you likely know I'm talking about one of these sites. But if I mention the term AGI to you, what comes to mind? Is it artificial general intelligence or artificial generative intelligence? Putting our acronym soup aside for later, here's another example of how this happens regularly. There's this ongoing spat about prompt engineering versus jailbreaking, one I've taken part in myself. Someone says prompt engineering is different from jailbreaking. They explain that it's about crafting questions or instructions in a way that ensures the AI understands what you're asking for and responds clearly. And that sounds fair, but then someone else chimes in that it's just jailbreaking with extra steps, and honestly, they're both kind of right depending on where you're standing. This is the same kind of thing that leads to issues like, that's not a Facebook model, it's a meta model, with someone else firing back, it's not a meta model, it's a llama model. And guess what? Technically, they're all correct, but also, does it matter? We all know what's being discussed here, but somehow the urge to split hairs takes over immediately. It's like watching people argue about whether the internet is the web or the World Wide Web. Spoiler alert, they're all the same thing, and we're still online. The terms World Wide Web and WWW were once used interchangeably, but over time as technology evolved, they took on significantly different meanings depending on who you asked. Definitions get murky because technology doesn't stand still, and neither do our attempts to frame it. Humans love to label things in a way that helps us make sense of the world. This tug of war over definitions reflects how complex AI has become and how quickly it's woven itself into different aspects of our lives. It's not just one thing anymore, it is a whole ecosystem, and everyone has their own corner of that space to defend. These debates highlight how personal our relationship with technology can be. What's a tool to one person is an experiment to another, or even a threat to someone else. So maybe it's less about finding the right definition and more about navigating the shared language of a rapidly changing field. That's where the real challenge lies. So philosophy aside, why can't we agree on what AI is or isn't? It's not like we're trying to define art or love over here. AI should be straightforward, at least in theory. That first big hurdle comes with the rapid pace of development. This is the most obvious reason, and while it's not a wrong reason, it is a bit of a cop-out. What we think of as AI now might look totally different in a year, or hell, even next Tuesday, and when everything's changing this quickly, consensus just does not stand a chance. Then there's the interdisciplinary crossover. AI doesn't sit neatly in one academic box. It's this weird cocktail of computer science, linguistics, psychology, philosophy, public interest, and probably a dash of sorcery. Everyone who works on AI brings their own lens and their own vocabulary, which is cool until we start trying to talk to each other. Imagine trying to decipher whether ERP refers to enterprise resource planning or erotic roleplay. Context is everything, but it's not always obvious when everyone's bringing their own lexicon to the conversation. The real fun, though, starts with commercial and marketing influence, because every organization has its own unique dictionary. Companies thrive on creating buzzwords, and AI is a goldmine for them. By the time you figure out what a term like model autophagy disorder actually means, the marketing team has already moved on to model collapse or some other kind of shenaniganery. But it's not just about creating confusion to sound like the smartest nerd at the convention. It's about controlling the market share. If a company can define the way we talk about AI, they shape how we discuss the field with each other, and by extension, what influence they hold in AI development and general adoption. Obviously, it's in their best interest to keep pumping out new definitions and frameworks, knowing that the public will often take up this crusade for them, defending their terminology and ideals as if they invented them themselves. That means that you, the consumer, are the biggest asset companies have when it comes to trying to establish the way we speak about emerging technology. It's also subsequently why the general public never adopted the push to call AI AGI. Artificial generative intelligence was something straight out of the Google playbook, but was almost wholly rejected by the public and many subgroups within the AI field. But that's far from the only time big names have tried to change the way we use certain words. Sometimes they're even successful. Take, for example, the word grok. Depending on who you ask, grok is either a groundbreaking AI system, a term about vibing with AI system, or a word lifted straight out of sci-fi pop culture. The name itself is a perfect example of the marketing playbook. No one says grok in 2025 and thinks about vibing with aliens or AI. They think about flux, twatter, and musky boy. But let's not kid ourselves. This isn't about advancing the field, it's about creating a legacy. While we're on the subject, what we're doing here in these videos is often an example of explainable AI. It's a way for us to research and find methodologies within these opaque systems that are, as the name suggests, explainable. One of the first edits to my classes was a definition of explainable AI, because at the time, the industry reference for this was the acronym XAI. You probably know XAI is the platform that hosts Grok. It's caused some issues for the community since the acronym and terminology for explainable AI hasn't changed since Grok and the x.ai site went live. It's just another scenario of ERP versus ERP, only now we're talking strictly about business terminologies. When companies shape these definitions, they're not just selling a product, they're selling a worldview, and the more we buy into it, the easier it is for them to guide the public discourse. Not just about AI, but about who gets to control its future. That's something really important too. Early adoption of emerging technology by big tech is just one of the ways that these entities can keep themselves in power over generations. And while we're talking about power plays, we can't forget about the smaller ones happening through gatekeeping culture. This right here is where the lion's share of disagreements come from. AI, like many fields, has its self-appointed gatekeepers, people and communities who decide which tools, techniques, or ideas are the real version of AI and which are just pretenders. Sometimes this just comes down to people being dweebs, getting their first taste of power or influence, and sometimes it's about people trying to hide something they feel could empower bad actors in the community. This is especially tempting in niche or emerging fields like AI, where people feel like they have hyper-compartmentalized knowledge. Last thing you want to do is hand over a playbook of definitions, explanations, and how-to guides to bad actors, right? Finally, there's a lack of formal governance. Without a unified body to lay down the law, AI definitions are a bit of a free-for-all. This is not a call to action though. Governing AI language sounds about as fun as refereeing a kindergarten soccer game, but it is worth noting that this absence of structure does fuel the chaos. Take RLHF for example. In the broader AI world, it stands for reinforcement learning from human feedback, but in some niche AI communities, RLHF used to mean real-life haptic feedback, which had the same definition but a different set of words behind the acronym. And you know, in both cases, people genuinely believed they were using the right version of the term for what they were doing. It's a perfect snapshot of how AI subcultures often ascribe their own meaning to shared concepts. What starts as a simple acronym can spiral out into a mini turf war over who owns the definition, and without any governing body to step in with the actually, these linguistic clashes will continue to pop up. Here's the thing, you don't need to lose sleep over AI definitions. The language will sort itself out over time, just like it did for the internet, computers, and other technologies. The terms we're fighting over today will eventually become clear or wholly irrelevant, and honestly, getting caught up in the nitty-gritty only plays into the hands of industry giants. So next time someone says that's not a Facebook model, it's a llama model, just remember, the real game isn't about definition. It's about understanding the bigger picture and how all of these things work together. It's a problem you're not going to see calm down until researchers and corporate interests align with the public's willingness to adopt new language. So again, don't sweat the small stuff here. That's gonna be it for me today. Join me next time where we'll be teaching AI to predict crypto trends using nothing but horoscopes and a magic 8-ball. See ya, nerds!